Right. Hello, YouTube. Well, thank you for tuning in. Now, on to the topic of the video. Out of Superman, Hulk, and Saitama, which one of these, if any, could beat Goku? Now, this topic is in response to a community post by Blackscape of a question of who could damage Goku the most out of these three. And so we're going to try and answer this question today. I have my friend Brimson here with me. We're going to answer these questions. So, starting off to analyze these characters, I think that the best idea would be to have a set level of strength that Goku's at, so we can see how the other ones measure up against him. We're going to be using Super Goku post Battle of Gods arc for this. So, starting off with his strength. Everybody knows the feat that Goku has with clashing with Beerus to the point where they almost destroyed the entire universe with their fists. The Universe 7 actually contains multiple other universes within it as well, such as Hell and Heaven, which were all going to be destroyed. So it should be pretty clear that Goku reaches at least universal levels of power. Now, in terms of abilities, Goku does have the ability to turn Super Saiyan, as everybody knows. He has the ability to project ki, superhuman strength, instant transmission, flying, and so forth. We're going to be equalizing speed for the sake of this battle so that none of the characters blitz the other to the point where it's unfair. Now, for the first character that's going up against Goku, we're going to be analyzing Saitama. Now, out of all three of these characters, Saitama most likely has the worst chance out of them all. The reason being is in terms of raw strength, or in terms of feats that he's shown within his show, of how much power he can output, it's nowhere near the levels required to harm Goku.
Yeah.
Like from what we see in the manga, in the Garo fight, which is the most impressive fight that we have in terms of feats, the most impressive thing that they've done in that fight was destroy stars with their serious punch square. Basically, Saitama and Garo collided fists, and Blast redirected the energy to the stars, and we can see that there's a massive gap in space caused by the blast of energy that was sent out. We can assume that tens, possibly hundreds of stars were destroyed, and this is a very impressive physical feat for Saitama. The thing is that when we compare this against Dragon Ball levels of power, even from the Cell arc, characters like Cell were able to blast away entire solar systems, as stated by Cell himself. In the Majin Buu arc, Brimson, if you remember, Majin Buu was capable of destroying an entire galaxy when given enough time.
Oh yeah, pretty much when they were showing Kid Buu, I would think it was like millions of years ago when he was killing the Kais. Yeah, dude was just having fun, just blasting away galaxies. Yeah.
Yeah, we have Saitama on one side who's going to be destroying a few stars, and then we have Majin Buu, the beast that he is, destroying galaxies, which contain trillions and trillions of stars. And when you compare the two, Saitama's feat starts to look a lot less impressive. Now, while physical strength is his main power, he also does have the ability to grow. So the Saitama from 2 minutes ago is going to be weaker than the one now, if that makes sense. So he does get stronger in the more he fights, almost similar to how Saiyans do continuously. Now, in terms of a versus battle between the two, Goku is almost 100% going to win this fight, and I'll explain why. Now, I don't want to sound like an absolute like Goku fanboy while doing this. I feel like there's no way that I'm gonna get both sides happy while answering this.
Yeah.
But the most impressive feats we have from Saitama, they only measure up against Z levels of power, if at all. Like the latest arc from the Majin Buu, that already has galaxy levels of power, which is a tier above what Saitama has shown. And in Dragon Ball Super, we have characters like Goku accidentally destroying universes without even trying. So in the physical strength department, Saitama's just getting like massively outclassed. Like it's not even close.
And not only that, same with speed, obviously. Saitama's like fastest speed feat as we've seen in the Gaara fight, or even if you want to go back to when Boros kicked him to the moon, it was at best like I've actually heard calculations like 6 times the speed of light or more, but that's literally it. That's like nothing to even like Majin, like you said, the Buu Saga characters, which were far, far, far faster than that.
Yeah, it's actually so incomparable that we're equalizing speed just for that reason. Because
Yeah,
if we didn't, it would just be like Rock Lee running around Gar in the tuning exam. It would not
yeah.
be fair at all. So Um, so moving on from Saitama, the only out that I can possibly see Saitama getting is he might be able to take advantage of the fact that Goku loves letting his opponents get stronger. We see that he wants to see that his opponents grow throughout the fight and see how strong they can get. Now, if Goku did this to Saitama with Saitama's growth ability, you could argue that Saitama would eventually grow enough to the point where he would be able to damage Goku. And Brimson, do you think that this would be reasonable?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do agree that if Goku allows Saitama to just constantly, and mind you, this growth would take a while because in order, I mean, as we know, Saitama was around like like star level. He could pretty much destroy a bunch of stars. So it'd probably take a few hours for Saitama to catch up or more. But even if he does somewhat catch up, it's only gonna just do some damage. It's not even really gonna beat Goku. And then on top of that, Goku has multiple forms. So
Yeah, so that's the one thing. It would be one thing for Saitama to patch up with, say, like base Goku. That would be reasonable. I accept that. But Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Mastered Ultra Instinct, those are so massively more powerful than base Goku that I really can't see him surviving One Punch. And one thing that I want to bring up about how Goku likes to let his opponents grow, he does do that, I will admit, but he does it to a certain extent.
right.
After a certain level, he will just flat out stop playing around and go full power and go for the kill. So I personally don't see Goku letting that get out of hand.
Pretty
So,
much.
Brimson, we're gonna be moving on to the Hulk now. I think he has a much better chance.
Oh yeah, the Hulk has a way way better chance than Saitama. And since I'm like the comic nerd kind of, I'm gonna explain this part. So as we know in Marvel Comics, mind you, I'm not using the MCU version. I'm using the comic version of Hulk 616. 616 Hulk is the main timeline version of Hulk, pretty much the Hulk that everyone usually knows or goes to whenever it comes to feats. So when it comes to strength, Hulk is like he's no pushover. He actually has multiple feats that put him on the universal scale of power. And here's the reason. So pretty much, I'll give a perfect example of one of the fights that happened in the comics. I will link this comic in the description so you all can check it out. So there was this villain called Onslaught. Onslaught is pretty much a character in Marvel Comics that's like kind of like one of the cosmic beings. Like, you know how in Marvel there's always like those cosmic level threats
Yeah,
that like,
those
oh
high tiers of power that could do pretty
yeah,
much anything.
yeah, exactly. Like there's always like those high tier villains that like give the heroes trouble. So Onslaught was basically just bodying the Avengers, just destroying them. You know, he beating Iron Man, Thor, like all these characters just were no match for him. On top of that, his armor was so strong that none of them could even put a dent in it, including Hulk. Hulk tried his best, he couldn't beat him. But here's the crazy part. So while Onslaught is just like pinning Hulk to the ground, pretty much embarrassing Hulk, Hulk's like struggling, he can't move. But what ends up happening, as we all know with Hulk, the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. He got so angry that his eyes like literally turned like blood red, and he throws one single punch, and it completely like it cracks the supposed unbreakable armor of Onslaught. And
It's like he
yeah,
almost got a Zenkai boost, basically. Like he
exactly.
got his own Super Saiyan form. He went from getting thrashed around by Onslaught like a toddler versus an adult man to just absolutely wailing on him. He broke his armor in one punch when none of the Avengers, all of them combined, could do it before. So we know that, like Saitama, Hulk is capable of increasing his power massively in a very short amount of time. Now,
Pretty much.
so since we're equalizing speed, we don't need to go over that. The only other thing that's important to bring up is his regeneration. So in a fight, um, if we were to set him up against base Goku to start out, I personally think that if we were to keep Goku in his base form, Hulk would eventually win and overcome, if not just flat out win without needing to get stronger. Because Hulk is already at an insane level of power, at universal levels of power. However, going with the same argument that Saitama we gave when we were talking about Saitama, Goku, while I do believe he would need to go into higher forms, I feel like eventually, after a certain point, Goku would allow himself to power up more to the point where he would just be able to one-shot Hulk with something like Hakai. Because we do know that Hulk does have regeneration. He can regenerate even
Yeah,
better than Wolverine, as stated by the authors. And Wolverine could regenerate from like a single blood cell or
yeah,
something like that. Basically, just atomization. So any kind of physical attack from Goku would almost kill him, but he'd come back eventually.
right.
So Hulk would definitely put up a good fight, but in the end, the one technique Goku has that would end Hulk is Hakai. In the manga, while Goku was fighting Samasu, which is the main canon of Dragon Ball, he does actually pull off the Hakai on Zamasu. So we know that if it really came down to it, he could erase Hulk from existence, which is more than just erasing the physical matter of your body, but it even goes so far as to erase your soul. So
Yeah.
Hulk, on a good day, you could say that if he gets mad enough and he heals and he continuously gets madder, depending on how Goku plays it, he might be able to eventually overwhelm him. But like we said with Saitama, Goku stops playing around with a certain amount of time, and he does have the necessary means to just erase the Hulk from existence.
Yeah, pretty much. And one more thing to add, not only can Goku just Hakai Hulk, and that would be it, but on top of that, we could even go back to when Gohan was fighting Cell. At this point, they didn't have like God Ki or Hakai, but we all know that Cell was able to literally regenerate from one single cell. But the second time they Gohan attacked him, the attack was so strong that he couldn't regenerate anymore. Basically, it destroyed everything. So that's also technically something else Goku could do. But even if Goku couldn't, yeah, Hakai's just gonna finish it.
Yeah,
So
that's actually a very good example, as I remember the impressive statement from the author stating that Hulk's regeneration is better than Wolverine's, where I think it was actually Wolverine could regenerate from a single drop of
yeah,
blood.
drop of
If
blood.
we're being generous, Hulk could regenerate from maybe a single cell like Cell can, if you want to say that. But I've been going back and realizing I don't think he's ever been able to regenerate from just like random atoms floating throughout the air. So there's a good
No,
chance
yeah,
that Goku might not even need to use Hakai for that.
yep,
Now, moving on to Superman, I think that out of these three, Superman probably has the best chance out of them all. And I feel like most of the fans, half of the fans are going to be torn apart, and I'm going to anger some of them with this between Superman and Goku. Superman, if we're going to analyze his strength, a lot of people come in with the infinite strength argument, which is due to Superman lifting the Book of Infinite Pages. If you're not familiar with this, in the Marvel Comics, Superman lifts a book that
DC
has.
Comics, by the way.
Sorry, DC
Yeah,
Comics, my bad. Superman lifts a book that has infinite pages with it and therefore should have infinite weight. So fans like to try and use this to get him to infinite strength. So this could get him to infinite strength, but when we're being realistic, Superman was able to lift this book for about a good 2 seconds while having an aneurysm because he was trying so hard trying to lift
There
it.
was
You can see all the veins
veins.
bulging out on his eyes. It looked like he was on crack or LSD or something while he was lifting it. He had help from Shazam, sorry, and he
Mhm.
was also still only able to hold it for a few seconds before getting blasted away through the power. So you could say, with a very, very high ball, giving him all benefit of the doubt, that he has infinite strength. However, this does drain his energy a lot, obviously. Now, what I mean by drain his energy, obviously, him being infinitely strong isn't doing that. It's just that when he exerts himself at this level, he would probably get exhausted, as he did with the Book of Infinite Pages. Going over most of his abilities, everybody already knows he has heat vision, frost breath, super hearing, X ray vision. It's also true that he has the ability to go back in time through sheer speed with
Mhm.
this. And analyzing every single one of these abilities, Superman does probably have the best chance of defeating Goku out of any of these characters. He would definitely damage him. That's
Oh yeah.
a 100% fact. If he has a chance to beat him, he can 100% damage him as he doesn't grow. He scales above multiple other characters in DC that are universal and fought them, like Darkseid and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
And if we were to compare these two in a fight, Goku, while he is at the same level of power as Superman with equalized speed, has some clear advantages over him. Now, Goku is a master martial artist and a hand to hand combat fighter. Most of the time in DC, you'll see that one of them throws a punch at a very basic level, and they're basically just going at each other like fucking cavemen and just bashing each other with their arms over their heads and whatnot. Goku is a very smart fighter who's been training with literal gods who have also been training for millions of years. He's mastered forms that not even gods could attain, like Master Ultra Instinct. He has Ki Blasts, and with all of these into consideration, we would have to say that Goku would most likely win because in the close range fight, he's going to have a clear advantage over Superman with his skills in martial arts. I would have a hard time seeing Superman land a single hit on Goku with things like Ultra Instinct and whatnot. And when it comes to long range, say heat vision or whatnot, while that is definitely capable of harming Goku, we've seen that Goku's able to shield himself with ki, dodge out of the way of beams like Kefla's beams shooting out of her body, and even use Kamehamehas as ways of defending himself, like from
Oh,
Jiren.
and one thing I would like to say too about the heat vision part, a lot of people would probably say, "Well, his heat vision could just kill Goku, melt him down." And I know people are going to bring up the part where Goku had to put a spacesuit on when he was near the sun, but let me just really quickly clarify this. That's pretty much just the writers being silly because, first of all, when Goku was fighting Frieza on Namek, Frieza literally in a scene like kicks Goku into like the lava of like the planet Namek, and he just comes right out as if nothing happened. And then on top of that,
And by the way, that was Z
yeah.
Goku.
Oh yeah, that was Z Goku. Yeah, that was literally Z Goku in the Namek saga.
That
And
was
that was when
pre like God like universe destroying life altering power where now he could like tank. If you think the fucking sun is going to hurt him or that heat,
yeah,
you have to realize that when you compared the sun to ball of the energy of destruction, which not only erases your physical body from the mortal universe, but erases your soul. And Goku has tanked that in base
yeah,
when Frieza stuck it on him. Do you really think some lava will hurt him? No.
seriously.
No. You could even bring up in the Broly fight where they fight inside a volcano and
Yeah.
whatnot and other things
I,
like that. The heat vision thing, even if Goku were to stand still, if it's just based on pure heat, I highly doubt it would do any damage. If you do think it does, Goku can most likely cancel it out with a Kamehameha. There's also the fact that heat vision takes a lot of Superman's energy and he would need to recharge with a current star. I feel that on a good day, Superman could probably go through all of the forms up until Mastered Ultra Instinct because of the massive skill and power bonus.
yeah.
Up until then, lose. But I'm not going to say that Goku 100% wins no matter what, or that he does against any of these characters. This is all just pure opinion based and speculation. You're completely free to believe whatever you want. If you have any disagreements or anything you want to say, please leave a comment down below.
Oh, and just one more thing I want to add. Um, yeah, so we're pretty much finished with this video, but I will add a lot more things to like I'll make a comment, and on top of that I will add more links to like what we were talking about, like the comics, the guidebooks, all the Dragon Ball stuff, the Marvel and DC stuff, even the One Punch Man stuff. So that's all going to be provided in the comment section, or really just in the description. And a second thing I want to add is I'm gonna clarify more on the feats more in like the comment section, and probably the description, because I know people are going to be like, well, what about when Superman did this? What about when Goku did? Trust
what
me.
about in this issue where
Right,
he's able to cross the universe in 5 hours, but now he's infinitely fast and whatnot.
Right.
So yeah, it would be a little bit weird if we didn't give you any proof for anything of what we said. We're just going to be some random people on Discord yelling at you about our opinions on fictional characters. So we're going to post links to all of these chapters / issues for the comics and whatnot. And be sure to join the Discord server in the link below. And thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Peace.